I have two questions, I guess sort of on the pizza line because it involves small business. The governor proposed a tax break, a tax cut of $40 million for small businesses through a reduction of the corporate franchise tax. Most small businesses don't pay taxes through the corporate franchise tax. They pay through their personal income tax. And when you speak to a lot of these owners, they indicate that the majority of their problems and the majority of their financial difficulties come from a lot of the revenues that are generated through the fees, fines, and that sort of thing from city government. And I know you made a press announcement sort of addressing this recently, and I was wondering if you can clarify how the administration is going to sort of change this culture of dealing with businesses.
Thank you very much for the question, because I think there was an unacceptable reality where small businesses were fined very arbitrarily and bluntly for revenue. You may remember I put out a report when I was public advocate pointing out that there had been a constant upward trend of fines on small businesses, disproportionately affecting the outer boroughs, and that it was clearly a revenue-generating tool based on some of the budget challenges that the city was facing. You could see year by year how it grew, and it was projected to grow in each budget on purpose. We reversed that. We literally reversed it. We said that we would, in effect, reward agencies for bringing those fine levels down to where they actually should be, not arbitrary, not forced fines or gotcha fines, but actually trying to figure out when are fines truly necessary, meaning that the store owner would refuse to address a health and safety need, for example, versus the typical situation we faced. Someone made a mistake, often a very small mistake, could have been corrected on the spot, and the store owner wasn't even given an opportunity to correct. So we've reversed the culture. We've brought down the fine levels by many millions of dollars, and we're going to keep pushing them down. Meanwhile, we've directed our Department of Buildings, which has been in many ways one of the choke points for a lot of small businesses, to speed up the services that they provide to small businesses, streamline, and particularly for those opening or expanding a business, to take a model that the previous administration did innovate, the hub system, which we think was a good model, and expand that. So we believe over time all of that will add up to a better experience for small business. But I want to thank you for your partnership with the administration on these issues, and we are adamant with you and all your colleagues. If there's examples where we're still not getting it right, we want to keep making these reforms.
I look forward to it. I think it's going to be certainly welcome news to a lot of the small businesses, especially on Staten Island. Shifting the focus to transportation on Staten Island, New York City DOT released a very basic report on the efficacy of photo-enforced red light cameras citywide. And the data they published was sort of the basis for them saying that overall pedestrian deaths and injuries are down at locations citywide as compared to before the cameras were installed. And that data was used to justify the use of them and sort of the overall success of Vision Zero. On Staten Island, the numbers were the opposite. Where cameras were installed, the number of pedestrian deaths and injuries actually rose. And we've been trying to get the data broken down by location and the revenue broken down by location, which is what the law provides. But DOT has in effect said, we're not going to deal with that. It's troubling that they would use the data in one hand to sort of justify the program, but then when a issue arises where it's indicating a different outcome, we were told that the data is misleading and incomplete. So would you support releasing this data and sort of ending the cynicism that people have that this is a revenue-generating tool? And if the data is correct that there's an uptick at these sites, would you look at reforming the way they're done as a number of municipalities have?
Okay, so several different questions there. Do we want to keep trying to perfect and adjust the location of cameras and the use of cameras for the positive impact we're seeking? Absolutely. Do we want to work with communities and elected officials to do that? Yes. I think the jury's already come back, if you will, that the combined impact of the cameras, the speed limit, the enforcement has driven down pedestrian deaths and overall fatalities. And that is a blessing. That is to everyone's credit. Everyone here who voted to give us that ability deserves a share of the credit that there are people alive today who would not have been alive otherwise. So there's no question it is working. We still need to keep perfecting it. Now, as Commissioner Trottenberg has said, the best kind of camera is one that ultimately generates zero revenue. That's literally what we want. We want that through education and through enforcement, people's habits change So they stay within the speed limit, so we don't get any revenue. We would love nothing more. As to the question of sharing information, understanding that there are two problems that we have to navigate. One is we don't go out of our way to put a big neon sign around where each camera is so that someone will just slow down.
Maybe we should. Maybe we should.
I understand that impulse. I was a driver myself until very recently. But the point is, we're trying to get people to slow down in general. I don't want people slowing down at one intersection and knowing there's no camera at the next intersection and then deciding let's gun it, into the next one. We want to get the culture to change for the safety of our families, our children, our seniors, et cetera. So we're a little bit sensitive, I think rightfully, about not having the kind of public discussion that gives people such a perfect understanding where cameras are that they simply change their behavior a little instead of a lot. Second, we do want to be careful about the data that is still fairly new not being over emphasized, meaning we know the broader effort is working. We have clear numbers on that. But in some cases, you might have some very local situation that was aberrant and individual. That doesn't mean that we've come to enough of a conclusion. We have enough data for that. We'll certainly make sure that DOT is sitting with you and your colleague, elected official in Staten Island, and working through some of these issues. But we do have to do it in a smart way.
Good. I think my time's almost up, but thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.